Hey guys, and welcome to the Bayern View. We are back again. We literally just did a stream and we're back again. Why not? Big up to everyone either way. Smash the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button, all that good stuff. Obviously, you can see that I'm not alone. And I'm trying my best to get, when a player is linked to a certain club or to our club, whatever you want to say, I'm trying to get a fan on to give their opinion. As you can see, Mike's is in here. Welcome to the Bayern View, mate. Thank you for coming on. And welcome.
Thank you for having me, man. Appreciate the invite, man.
No, 100%, mate. 100%. I was looking for a West Ham fan for a while, and I asked Steve, Strikeburst Steve, and he said you, and then I just went straight with it. So big up to him, big up to you. Obviously, we're going to be talking about Mazraoui. We'll talk about your club. We'll talk about my club, and we'll go from there. But before we carry on, everybody in here or goes in here, watches this after it's been live and all of that, please go over and hit the subscribe button to his channel. We support each other. Why is this playing an ad? We support each other. Let's get this man to 400. That's 4 subs. That's all we need. Get him to 400 and 110%. Everybody else go and subscribe either way. Good content over there. I've been watching the videos while I was editing. So yeah, big up to you. And so yeah, we're going to be talking about Mazraoui, obviously. And I watched your video about Souček. You weren't best impressed. But yeah, you obviously, as West Ham, not you, but as your West Ham, your club, you obviously need a right back. You're looking for a right back. You're being linked to various right backs. For some reason, you're heavily linked with our right back, Mazraoui. Straight away, to hit the nail straight on the head, what do you think of Mazraoui?
So from what I've seen, I do like him, like in terms of how composed he is on the ball. I do think he will very much suit the style of play that we're trying to implement currently. Obviously, if this was under Moyes, I don't think he would have been able to use him properly and stuff like that. He would just shoehorn anywhere really. And with Lopetegui, he wants his fullbacks to get high up the pitch, hug the touchline, etc. And I think he'd be perfect for that. My thing with the whole deal though is the fact that I think we're doing this just to get Wan-Bissaka and try and divert Man United into get Wan-Bissaka mainly. But I do like the player. I can't lie and say I watched him week in, week out, but when the small glimpses I see whenever Bayern's in a big game or whatever, I've always liked watching him. But I'd be happy with the signing overall. And we just need a right back. Anyone that would be better than Souček right now. And I think the 3 right backs that we're linked to, like Walker Peters, Wan-Bissaka, Mazraoui, they're all got way more dynamic. He can hold himself up. He can hold himself down in a 1v1 situation, but also get forward quite well. I'd like the signing, honestly.
Yeah, no, I'm with you without a doubt. Put it this way, I don't want rid of him. I don't want rid of him. I think he's so versatile that he can play right back and left back. He would be the out-and-out right back for Morocco if they didn't have Hakimi. Obviously, you're not going to take Hakimi out of the squad, so then you play him left back, and he does a great job there as well. For Bayern Munich, for instance, I know that we've got a ridiculous amount of players, obviously. Kimmich can play right back. Sancho Bowie can play right back. Stanisic can play right back. Mazraoui can play right back. So we've got way too many right backs. So yeah, one of them will have to go, and that's why I personally would push him out on the left because for me, Alphonso Davies just isn't it anymore. Obviously, he wants Real Madrid, and we can't be having that. I know that the golden age and the golden ticket is to go to Madrid, but at the end of the day, you're taking the piss, really. You know what I mean? So but yeah, on Wan-Bissaka, what are you do you think? I think you basically said it, but I'm going to ask anyway. Do you think that you're going to go for Wan-Bissaka and you're just doing the whole thing of looking at another player to hopefully get this deal over the line?
Yeah, so originally, obviously, Kyle Peters was the main target. And I think we tried to go for Wan-Bissaka to get Southampton to put the price down. The problem with that situation was they wanted Flynn Downs, but they got Flynn Downs. So they kind of finessed us when it came to that deal. They got 20 million, they bid 20 million for Flynn Downs. We accepted it. We made profit on him. And I wanted to keep Flynn Downs, don't get me wrong, but it was borderline impossible just because of the fact that he wanted to play and he was going to go to Southampton. He was there last season. Russell Martin is literally like, he loves him and stuff like that. That's why we tried to get Kyle Walker-Peters. Ben Johnson left on a free. A lot of our fan base went into uproar because of that and all that stuff, but I didn't care. To be completely honest with you, wasn't that good. But Kyle Walker-Peters was the original target. I think that we tried, which was like Southampton. We've got other targets as well, so we'll go after Wan-Bissaka. And turns out they're kind of both charging too much for players that are like running down on contract. Like they've only got 1 year left in their contract, both of them. So they don't really have much of a leg to stand on in general. So I think with the whole Mazraoui thing, I think it's going to create some form of domino effect. Like if Man United don't go after Mazraoui, we'll try and go after him. But if they lower the price of Wan-Bissaka, we'll go after Wan-Bissaka. The Mazraoui situation doesn't really matter with us. I think it's going to be one of them two. If I was to say that we will sign a right back, and we need to sign a right back. It should be a priority position. Like we already got one right back. If Vladimir Sufa was to get injured, only Manfred Panos could play there. Other than that, you'd have to put a youngster in there. Lopetegui's not even playing the youngster right backs in pre-season. He's playing youngster midfielders at right back in pre-season, which is even more interesting. But it's going to be either Mazraoui or Wan-Bissaka. I think Mazraoui and Kyle Walker-Peters would actually fit us better because Wan-Bissaka can't cross. Like he's a very good defender, and I would say probably the best 1v1 defensively. But he's not even bad like beating a press or anything. But it's just if you want to hug the touchline, you got to be able to cross. I take it for 10 million. Don't get me wrong, but I still think if you want to play under Lopetegui as like a right back or a left back, you got to be able to do both to a certain degree, like to a certain balance as well. I know there's a lot of fullbacks that can't for some reason in this era, but Wan-Bissaka, I wouldn't mind it for 10 million. Ideally, Walker-Peters, but Walker-Peters wants to come to us, but it's hard to agree a price. That's pretty much like the right back situation going on at this club.
Yeah. I get you. Who would you like if you had to pick out of Wan-Bissaka or Mazraoui? Who would you pick?
I'd probably pick Mazraoui. Mazraoui just because like more balance. I'd say more of a balanced right back than Wan-Bissaka.
Yeah.
Wan-Bissaka can't cross a ball.
Yeah.
I think Wan-Bissaka would. I think Wan-Bissaka would do very good in the Big Six games, like against the big teams. Like, because we're not going to have the ball as much in those games. Like, when we're trying to like open up teams, we're literally trying to keep the ball now, which is something we didn't do last year. Like if this was David Moyes' prime David Moyes counter-attacking football, then Wan-Bissaka is perfect. But with Lopetegui, we're trying to keep the ball. If we're trying to open up teams, I don't know who even plays defensive football nowadays, but if they're trying to go to the London Stadium and put 11 men behind the ball, Wan-Bissaka ain't the right back to help with that. And it wouldn't exactly help Jared Bowen or Mohamed Kudus to whoever's playing on the right because they would just be isolated. Would have to take on 3 players at once. So I think even tactically it wouldn't work. But Lopetegui seems to not mind any of them. He's just leaving it up to Tim Steidten, the technical director, to just sort it out, really.
Yeah. No, I get you. Without a doubt, it's definitely going to be an interesting situation as a whole to see. Obviously, and I mean this with no disrespect, but Villa, for instance, obviously they are actually doing really good now, but they weren't for a while before Unai Emery coming in, and you could see like these like big clubs in the Bundesliga, Spanish league, so on, lose players to the lower teams in the Premier League. Doesn't mean they're worse, obviously, you know that yourself. But like it's just crazy that like that would never come over to me, if that makes any sense. Hopefully I'm making sense. Like I never would think Mazraoui would be linked to West Ham. Not necessarily because shit, you won a European trophy. You know what I mean? Like no matter what anyone wants to say, you did win it. So yeah, it's definitely an interesting situation, without a doubt. What I'm going to do now quickly is I'm just going to change that. And I'll just read the news, so if someone is watching this, they can, get that, and then we'll just grasp from that. But yeah, look, it's definitely going to be an interesting situation. Right, let's put the news on the screen. Which one is it? I believe it's this one. No, it's not. Typical. Right, there we go. So as you can see on the screen, people. This is what is coming out from Politico, who's very well known in the Bayern space, if you want to say. He was the guy that was literally going on about us signing Harry Kane. And yeah, out of it's nuts. But yeah, like West Ham are still pushing to sign Mazraoui, with more talks with Bayern Munich having taken place in the past few hours. Bayern are now demanding at least 20 million. No agreement between clubs yet. Mazraoui is keen to play in the Premier League. Also, Manchester United have him on the list. We already knew that. But what do you make of the price?
It depends on the contract situation. What's this contract situation saying?
You know what? You've actually stumped me there. Let me have a look. Where Bayern Munich wages. Let's have a look. Because I know we got him on a free.
Yeah.
So, like, no matter how much we get from him, even if it was £1, it's profit, obviously. Where is he? Mazraoui. He's there. 2026. So he's still got a good amount of time.
Yeah.
You know,
I think that wouldn't be a bad price then, because like they're like the price that, for example, if I'm comparing it to Walker Peters and Wan-Bissaka, for example, like they're both on 1 year left, and it would be like probably £15 million each or whatever.
Yeah.
I think they want more, but I think we can't really do that for the amount of positions that we need. We can't be spending over like 25 million on each position. The reason why we did it for Kilman was because Lopetegui really wanted him, and Maidenhead were getting a sell-on clause from Wolves, so that's why we needed to bid 14 million for Kilman and stuff. And Guilherme is a young Brazilian talent that we clearly see as someone that's going to be here for a long time and stuff like that. That's why the whole John Duran thing is stalled and stuff like that, and other deals. And with this situation, I think 20 million would be fair. If the club were going to stall over 20 million euros, I'd look at them a bit sideways just for a right back, because the right back is a big priority at the club, as I keep saying on the channel. Like right back and striker, I'd be content, even though we need players in more positions. I'd be content if we just had a right back and striker from now, and we just move on to other positions in the future. I'd still be critical of the window, but I would rather just sign as a right back and a striker, and then not have to worry about any other positions for now, and then just assess the squad once the season goes on. But with Mazraoui, I think he's worth 20 million as well. I'm pretty sure they're all around a similar age, all these right backs as well. But it's just with 2 years left, I think that's completely fair.
Yeah, no, without a doubt. How old is Mazraoui? He's 26 years old. So he's nowhere near his prime at this moment in time. So yeah, 100. Selling de Ligt and Mazraoui is a big mistake. Yeah, I agree without a doubt. I would love to keep both of them. It just seems like we've got too many players for too many positions, and they just need to go. So yeah, obviously that was that particular post. But this is an interesting one, and I say that because the first ever tweet that come out from Right by Saying about Mazraoui going to West Ham or be a link to West Ham, I believe was saying that they are looking to loan him. Which is interesting. He himself only wants to leave Bayern if it's a permanent deal. Obviously you could get a loan with an obligation to buy. Obviously you're basically getting him now, but you're paying later. Getting him now, but you pay later. But it's still the fact that he is going to stay there. He's not going to go on loan and then come back to Bayern and be uncertain of his future, so on and so forth. So, what would you make of a loan? I obviously know that you're obviously looking at Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Man United looking, blah, blah, blah. But, would you want to just straight up sign him, or what do you think?
Yeah, it should be a straight up signing. I wouldn't be surprised if this club went in for a loan with an with an option to buy, because what this club likes to do is just we still try and find it on a cheap. We are still trying to do that, but it's a bit different this season. It's because we needed a big rebuild with this squad. We needed to lower the age of the squad, but we also needed players in multiple positions. So that's why we can't spend 30 million plus. But I think, along with the obligations, I'd be fine with it because you're paying money later. It's still technically a permanent transfer, as you said. But I think we just need to go in with a full bid just to get this deal over the line if we're really interested. I believe this guy is still third choice, probably on our list, just because the Walker Peters and Wan-Bissaka still. They probably still want to try and go back and that. But the whole Southampton being stubborn and almost finessing us for Finn Downs and Kyle Walker Peters has almost made this deal a lot more alive. I think Wan-Bissaka is probably the main target now, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get either Mazraoui or Wan-Bissaka. But I think just going with the full bid. This should be an easy deal to get done. but it's also depending on other targets as well. I feel like this could go on for maybe a week or two, but if we haven't signed a right back or a striker by next week, I'm going to look at the transfer window a bit sideways. I'm going to be getting a bit more frustrated.
Yeah. No, most definitely. I'm with you on that one. You know, these sorts of clubs, no matter if it's the elite clubs, Real Madrid, or if it's the lower clubs, like at the end of the day, you need to get your business done early, because then obviously you're, if you don't, other clubs aren't going to do what you're doing, and they might go and steal your players or steal your targets or whatever. So yeah, no, I'm with you on that one. I feel the same way with Bayern trying to sign a midfielder, Doué or Xavi Simons. It looks like we're going to miss out on both, which just is what it is, unfortunately. But yeah, like I know exactly where you're coming from. I do feel like I don't really understand why United would go for Mazraoui personally.
Yeah.
Just because they've got Delot there, Delot, however you say his name, and I think he's a brilliant right back. And I don't think Mazraoui would want to be second choice. Obviously, if you get the choice of, do you want to go to Manchester United or do you want to go to West Ham? You know, again, no disrespect, I'm not trying to be a prick. You're going to pick Man United. Everybody is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You know, same with Vincent Kompany, for instance. He gets Burnley relegated, said he's going to stay there. The next minute, he's gone to Bayern Munich. You know what I mean?
It makes
just
sense.
Yeah. So it's definitely one of those. But one thing I did want to ask you, you know, obviously having you on the channel, thank you again for coming on. And everybody hit the subscribe button. It literally don't even have to click off. You can carry on listening and hit the subscribe button. Click at the @ in the title, go subscribe, and then carry on with the show. And then make sure to smash the thumbs up as well. I want to talk about a couple of your players. Not necessarily the fact that Bayern are linked with them or anything, but just that you're here. I just wanted to ask you. So obviously you got Kudus. How long do you think you'll be able to keep him? Because I think he's absolutely fantastic. I'm sure you do as well. But, you know, being an outsider, I think he's brilliant.
Yeah, I think this will be our last season with him, if I'm being completely honest. Because I think a lot of clubs are going down this road of, like, obviously buying almost like for low and then selling for high. I think this was the season where they expected to sell Paquetá, then replace him in advance, obviously, or replace him in this window. And then the next season they sell Kudus but replace him in advance. Now, I think Guilherme is actually the long-term replacement for Kudus. But I think Guilherme is still going to play a big part this season. It's just the long-term replacement. He'll become the main man. He's still young when Mohamed Kudus leaves. And the reason why I also think this is because Mohamed Kudus is bound to have a better season than he did last season. Like, even though he had a great season last season, it's still a lot of moist tax, a lot of moist ball, but also for the fact that not only is he getting older, he's just got used to the Premier League. The last season was his first season of the Premier League. Like, he's only going to get better. Lopetegui wants to give players freedom. Kudus has said about 2 or 3 times already about how much he loves Lopetegui's style of play already. We haven't even played a Premier League game. So the players that, I know it's a bit of PR, but players don't really come out and say it and put out that much. And Kudus isn't really the PR type guy. But with Mohamed Kudus, the guy is sensational. I think literally is the crowd favorite. Oh, like every West Ham fan loves him, like, because he can literally bring the ball down, 4 players on him, deceptively strong, keep the ball, go through like 3 or 4 players, and then score. We saw the goal against Freiburg in the Europa League last season, like the overhead kick against Man City, overhead kick against Brentford, the goals against Man United. Like, this guy's also a big game player. So constant, like his concentration is immense as well. Like, he doesn't take his eye off the ball at any point in the game. Like, he just always wants to score, always wants to create. He'll work hard. He's pretty much got everything, but he's still raw. Like, you can see the guy is going to have everything. Like, he's one of the few players I can say, like, even in this era of football, that you can potentially become world class. Maybe not at this club, obviously, but at a bigger club. Like, we're gonna struggle next season trying to keep him. Like, he's on a big contract, and we're gonna ask for more. And he's probably the 85 million release clause comes back in next summer. But even if he has a great season this season, I'm taking 85 million. Like, who am I to say it? No to 85 million. Like, but even if we didn't have that release clause, we'd be extorting teams for, like we did for Rice, for like 100 million or whatever, and all that stuff. But I think we're almost like doing this thing where we're just trying to find gems, sell the bigger players for how much as well. Like, and especially with the fact that we're going to keep Jared Bowen for pretty much the rest of his career, we kind of need to do that if we want to reinvest back into the squad, keep up with FFP, and keep spending big every summer as well. Because who knows what what can happen. Maybe this manager just bad, and we have to have another manager rebuild for him and stuff
Yeah,
like that. You never know what's going to happen. Like Mohamed Kudus is amazing, probably one of the best players I've seen at West Ham. Not that there's much competition, but in my lifetime, one of
yeah,
the best players I've seen at the club. Like genuinely amazing. I've not seen people in the crowd get off their feet like this since Payet was here. So that's how good he is.
yeah. No, without a doubt, he definitely is a special player, and he's still so young as well. So
Yeah.
that definitely is a factor in it.
Mm.
But yeah, 85 million, I guess, isn't too bad.
That's not.
Not bad at all. Who is he being linked to any particular clubs?
No, they tried to do the whole Liverpool link earlier in the transfer window to try and say it, and try and do the lazy link of he's the Salah replacement. They tried to do that with Bowen every year as well, but it's because the 85 million release clause was not just open next year, but it was open in the June section of the transfer window, and it expired on the 1st of July. But it's going to come back next season. They tried to link it in with Liverpool, but not only did Liverpool not spend any money, they still haven't bought anyone till this day. And their main target would be an Anthony Gordon on the left. And I was never worried about this. It was just all there for speculation. Like, whenever I see Kudus, news is mainly for how good he's doing at the club rather than being linked with a move because he only just joined. Like I thought he was going to be linked with a move, but like 6 months in, and people try to stir that up and all that stuff as they always do. But with Paquetá, you can see instantly Man City every time. But with Kudus, there hasn't been clubs linked. That's why, because it's going to reflect off the next season that he's going to have. He's going to have another great season. I can always guarantee that no matter what happens, he will have a great season. And then there'll be clubs genuinely interested, be like, okay, this is our chance to go and get Mohamed Kudus. I don't think he'll push for a move, but a lot of clubs will come in for him next season. Like it'll probably be clubs outside of the Premier League, because if it's in the Premier League, we're going to try and extort the team. We're going to try and make it difficult for them. Yeah.
No, without a doubt. Wouldn't surprise me if it was like a Manchester United, to be honest with you.
Like, yeah.
Dude, they spend ridiculous money as it is.
Yeah.
Maguire obviously being the main one, but on Jared Bowen, obviously he's one of your own. What do you think you'll be able to keep him?
Yeah. He's going to retire here. He said he wants to retire here. He signed a 7-year deal last season. And he's born into not born into. He married into a West Ham family. He just got engaged.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Obviously, the whole Danny Dyer thing as well. It does kind of help, believe it or not. But like, it's the fact that he's become a legend here by scoring obviously that winning goal. He made himself his own pretty much the last 3 seasons. Like he was basically a squad player. Wasn't really liked under Moyes completely, but once Lingard's loan ended, when fans came back in that season, in the 21-22 season, pretty much became a main player at the club. Like, and you're seeing it without Declan Rice. You're seeing he's now the main guy at the club, like the main guy that everyone talks about. Like we can talk about Paquetá and Kudus, but Bowen's been here for years doing his job. Like even playing out of position last season up front, a lot of his goals still came from the right hand side. Him drifting off the right hand side and still scoring. Still manages to adapt and all that. Doesn't have a bad attitude problem. Just it works hard and scores goals, and just he grabs the games by the scruff of the neck. Like we'll be able to keep him. Luckily, they try and link him with Newcastle this season. That was never going to happen. That was never ever going to happen. Like people think that it was ridiculous to charge 105 million for Rice because of Bowen's contract. We would generally charge even more. Like, and the whole reason why we're doing that is so clubs don't bid for it. That's the point. Like, we're not going to accept it. Bowen's happy here, so he would be like 33 or something by the time his contract ends, something ridiculous like that. And by the time then, he'll probably just stick it out and be a squad player by then and retire at the club, unless he goes back to a club that's below us because of his level might have dropped by then. But we're definitely going to keep him. That's the word I'm not worried about at all, unless we get relegated or something.
Yeah. No, I get you. I understand where you're coming from. Edson Alvarez. When you signed him, I'm not going to lie, I was fuming. I wanted Bayern to sign him for a while. I think he's a great player. Obviously, he's Mexican. You know what the Mexican players are like. Times. I want to say you got him from Ajax, if I'm correct by saying.
Yeah, we did. Yeah.
So obviously, Bayern have now signed Polina, which I'll get your opinion on that in a minute. But what do you make of Edson Alvarez?
So, I was very happy with the signing when it happened. Like I was like, this is perfect. Obviously, we tried to get Paulinho as well. Funny enough, it was both Alvarez and Paulinho. Obviously, Fulham, rightly so, wanted too much. They only just signed him at that point. And Paulinho was even discussed the West Ham move and talking about how I talked with the Fulham board and all that. Um, that would have been an amazing signing as well. That would have been just as good as Edson Alvarez. But with Edson Alvarez, I had watched him like 3 times, and that was like when Ajax, Rangers, Liverpool, and Napoli win that Champions League group. And I was like, and there was that early game was like Ajax Rangers. I was like, let me give that a watch. And that was the first time I watched both Alvarez and Kudus. Funny enough, we went to scout Alvarez. Mark Noble and the chief scout at the time, Rob Newman, both went to scout Alvarez and were like, we need to sign Alvarez and Kudus by watching an Ajax game. They came across Kudus accidentally and went after going to scout Alvarez. I think he could potentially be better than Declan Rice at West Ham. And that's not just because of I'm bitter about losing Declan Rice or whatever. I still like Declan Rice. But it's just he's a different type of midfielder. Like he wants to come and receive the ball and then pass it between the lines and stuff and dictate play and also be really physically imposing when we're off the ball and stuff. Like the boys didn't like him last season. They even kind of fell out the back end of last season when we got battered by Chelsea. What happened was he got taken off at halftime, and then in a press conference, someone asked him about why you getting battered like more this season, and then he said it's because we don't have Declan Rice, and obviously Edson Alvarez plays in his position, so there's a bit of shade there. And I'm pretty sure he didn't play the last game of the season against Man City. I could be wrong, even though he got taken off or stuff, or he was on the bench. But he was on the bench for the last 2 games because he wanted to play Ward-Prowse and Souček for whatever reason as a midfield too, which is terrible in itself. But with Edson Alvarez, I really like him. Like he can drops in between the centre backs, likes to pass it between the lines. Like it's a DM we've needed for about 10 years almost. Like it's that kind of player we've needed about for 10 years. So I'm very happy with it. He's going to be a key player that we're going to build the squad around next season. Like once he comes back from his injury, unfortunately he got injured in Copa America, but once he comes back, he's going to be the main star. We do need another number 6, depending on how the youth midfielders get along in pre-season. They might be included in the first team, but we do need a number 6 if we don't include, the fringe players or the youth players that we already have. But yeah, Edson Alvarez, key player. Like, I'm very happy with the signing. Obviously, the Dutch journalist as well, Mike something, he predicted the fact that it was going to happen like 3 or 4 weeks before. But we just got our business very late. We signed like all 4 players in August last season: Ward-Prowse, Mavropanos, Alvarez, and Kudus. They were all signed in August, but that's because Moyes and the technical director Tim Snyder were disagreeing on stuff, and that kind of delayed everything because they both see football very differently. But I'm very happy with it, and luckily we have a manager that likes that type of play. Just needs to work on his discipline record, and then we're good.
Yeah. No, I 1000% get where you're coming from. Like I said, I wanted him when I seen that he went. All I seen when it popped up on my phone saying that shock move, Edson Alvarez, and I'm like, Edson Alvarez, where's he gone? I seen West Ham. I was like, fuck. I really, really, really wanted him. I think he's a wonderful, wonderful player. The fact that he played I want to say 4 seasons for Ajax. The fact that nobody picked him up made no sense to me. For Bayern, for instance, we haven't had a DM since Xavi. I always say Xavi. Wow, I don't even know my own legends. Javi Martinez. We haven't had a DM since him. And obviously we've had the whole Joshua Kimmich and this and blah 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 blah. But when I seen him play, again, the fact that he's Mexican doesn't actually necessarily mean anything, but what these like South American type players are like. They're very rash, they're very hard in the tackle, so on and so forth. As soon as I seen him, I was like, he needs to play for Bayern. And then I think we were linked to him once, but again, it's one of those links where it's like a rumor rather than anything obviously concrete or anything. But when you got him, I won't lie, I was pissed. Not gonna lie whatsoever. And the fact as well that he's 26 years old, doing it in the Premier League. Obviously, like you said, he obviously is injured because of the Copa America, but when he comes back, I'm sure he's going to be, fighting again because that's just the type of player he is. And obviously, you know that more than me. You watch him week in, week out. One thing I did want to ask you, obviously being a fellow Premier League watcher, and obviously you just mentioned his name as well, and of you guys being linked to him. With Polinia, now a lot of Bayern fans wanted him, me included. That's the only one I wanted. We were being linked with, obviously we were linked with Declan Rice. Arsenal obviously went and got him. Zubamendi was another player we've been linked with. Onana, the DM, the Belgian one. You know, he was another player. But Polinia, do you think he's good enough to play for a Bayern Munich? Because I personally do, but a lot of the people in this community don't like him.
Oh wow, that's surprising me because I generally think he's more than good enough to play for any of the top 6 sides in the Premier League. And Bayern Munich, it's especially like it's exactly what you need really. Like again, he's probably a guy who needs to work on his discipline record, but that's it really. Like he will do well with a midfielder that goes slightly forward. Like when Fulham first signed him, obviously in his first season, he played alongside Harrison Reed, and Harrison Reed would just bomb on a little bit and make the late runs while he just sweeps it up and just dictates play. Likes to switch the ball, likes to pass in between the lines. Like he's gonna do so well in that league. Like honestly, it wouldn't be nothing to him. Like that's a great signing. I kind of felt sorry for him when the deal didn't happen. Obviously last year, obviously it broke down and stuff. But I was like, this guy does deserve his big move. I know it was only one season, but it was definitely definitely deserved for sure. Like I think he will do very well. Like he likes to get on the ball, like especially under Vincent Kompany as well. Like Vincent Kompany's actually will be a better appointment than people think as well. And Vincent Kompany tried to play football with pretty much like under 21 team for Burnley, and they just signed too many wingers. Like I watched the Championship quite a lot, so when I saw them transition into the Premier League, they didn't play a lot of the players that got them promoted. That was their problem. It wasn't necessarily a coaching problem. He's obviously a bit stubborn, but every manager's stubborn in their ways in terms of the way they want to play. It just didn't help the fact that they were battling relegation. Now they're completely downgraded in Scott Parker, they're going to struggle. But with Paulinho, he's so key towards he's going to be so key towards the way Vincent Kompany wants to play. It's a bit like how Josh Cullen played at Burnley, like, but just even better on a bigger scale. Like that's a great signing, man. I don't get how people don't rate him unless people think that maybe he's not mobile enough or maybe he has too many yellow cards. I get that, but that won't be a big problem as long as you're structured well enough. And especially he won't even get as many yellow cards because Bayern will have more of the ball and Bayern are a better team. Fulham were a very good team to an extent, but they didn't score enough goals. They were playing attacking football with mediocre attackers, to say the least. Even though Muniz had a purple patch, he's an average attacker. Mitrovic was barely got any service. Willian's okay. Bobby Dicadoveri's okay. Solomon was okay when he was there. Like he's gonna go upper level at Bayern. Like he's gonna be surrounded by all these great players.
Yeah. No. And that's what I seen as well from it. You know, he likes to. I think a lot of the Bayern fans fantasize with a DM kind of being like Thiago. In the fact that he is obviously very technical, he's good on the eye, if you want to say, just amazing. With there's a reason he was at Barcelona, put it that way. But that's I don't want to say a one in a lifetime type of player, but the fact of him being a hybrid between a 6 and an 8 worked for Bayern Munich. Obviously, we went and won treble and so on and so forth. But for me, I want a DM, and I think this is very self-explanatory, but literally get the ball and pass it forward. I don't need you doing this crap, you know what I mean? Like passing it sideways and all of that. Just grab the ball off of the opposition, pass it forward, let Jamal Musiala, Harry Kane, so on and so forth, do their jobs. And I think a lot of people wanted the likes of Zubamendi and so on because they're seeing that more of a technical type of player, which I understand, and obviously everyone's got an opinion. That's the whole point I'm doing this channel, to give everyone an opinion on that. But, at the same time, I do feel like Polinia is going to be that guy. And like you said, obviously, Fulham aren't that one of those teams that will always have the ball, so he will put in this rash challenge left, right, and centre. I'm sure he probably will get a lot of yellow cards, yellow cards for Bayern. I'm sure he'll probably get a red card for Bayern. But at the same time, when we got the ball, we're pushing forward and so on. I don't think it's going to be. I don't think he'll be as rash. And again, yeah, I think it's a wonderful signing. To be honest, it's the only signing I really cared about. Obviously we signed Oliseh as well, which I'll get your opinion on in a minute because I generally know nothing about him. I don't watch the Premier League either, so I've watched clips, but you know how they can manipulate clips. You know what I mean? I think Pelini is amazing. I think he's the signing of the summer for Bayern. I think people are saying Oliseh, which I understand. But yeah, we've been waiting and begging for a 6 since Javi Martinez. So
makes sense. Yeah.
So yeah, there's that.
I can still hear you, by the way. I'm just gonna make my lighting better.
Yeah, no, that's fine, man. No worries. Don't worry about that. But yeah, one thing I did want to ask you about. Obviously, I just mentioned it with Oliseh. Again, straight away, don't know anything about him. I know that he played for Crystal Palace. I know, and this is going to sound really, really, really weird, but I know that he was getting a lot of special cards on the video game. So he was obviously doing something right. And obviously Man United and Chelsea were heavily linked with him. And then the next minute, Bayern are linked. But again, I thought it was one of those where with Edson Alvarez, for instance, we're linked to the player, but it's not going to happen. Next minute, we've signed him. So what do you make of Oliseh?
A great player, like probably one of the best right wingers in the league, if I'm being completely honest. Like Cole Palmer, Mohamed Salah, and Saka, and then Oliseh probably. And even then, you could debate Oliseh could have been even. He probably will be better than Saka when it comes to like if he gets more game time and stuff. Like, but the only negative about Oliseh is his injuries. Like he is very injury prone. But other than that, like. In terms of technical ability, you can't really fault him. You're not going to get the ball off him. Like no one in the Premier League really got the ball off him. Like even in a Roy Hodgson, a Crystal Palace side where they don't have the ball at all, and Roy Hodgson has honestly some of the weirdest tactics possible. But Michael Oliseh was still thriving in that side. Like if you give him the freedom, which Vincent Company will, it'll be the same. He'll replicate the same as the way Benson did it for Company in the Championship for Burnley. I think he's a great signing. He was what he in general. If he's fully fit, he's one of the best in the Premier League when he was in the Premier League. Like obviously, I put Bowen up there for the right wingers as well. But like with him, he obviously tormented West Ham a few times. But in the Premier League, he tormented pretty much every left back. Like every left back. No, it's not really a left back that pocketed him. There wasn't one. I mean, don't get me wrong. He didn't obviously have a great run of games all the time because again, injuries. But his ability to like keep the ball, link up play, get in the pockets, hug the touchline. He can do it all in terms of positionally. Like if the tactic is literally he's got to hug the touchline to take them on 1v1, he's not got explosive pace, but he's got a technical ability just to shimmy past you, and his final ball is amazing. You ain't got many wingers nowadays that can even cross properly or curl it in the top bins, and Oliseh can do that. If you're talking just getting in the pockets and creating, he could do that as well. Like early in his career, obviously he was more of a number 10, but when Vieira signed him for Palace, straight right wing, tormenting left backs, and he could do it all really. Like if he's going to play in the 10, he'll do just as good. But he never really played in the 10 at Palace. Like he's a proper right wing. He's obviously played in the Olympics now. Like he linked up with Matata very well in the back end of the Palace season. Obviously, he had a great relationship with Eze, another great player, and he will link up with the technical players that you have already. He'll link up well with Harry Kane. He'll link up well with Musiala and Oliseh. You're gonna love them two together. Like honestly, you're literally feasting at every team. No, every team is gonna be like scared. The fact that Musiala and Oliseh are right next to each other and stuff. Like he's gonna do it he's gonna be amazing. Like obviously, I don't think Chelsea necessarily missed out on signing him because they already had Cole Palmer and they couldn't really sell another winger that they had. Obviously, he's better than Madueke, even though I think Madueke is actually an alright player. He's a good player, but like I don't think they necessarily missed out because of who they have already. But it's a great signing for Bayern if you needed a winger already. Like it would have been great for Man United, even though they have about 16 wingers already. So
yeah, no, I get you. No, 100%. But yeah, man, thank you for coming on, mate.
No problem.
It's going to be very interesting to see what happens. Obviously, if Mazraoui does sign for you guys, I'll probably get you on again and get your opinion on it. But yeah, no, without a doubt, it's great to have you on. Thank you for coming on, obviously, with such short notice. Yeah, hopefully, guys have enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button. Make sure to go and subscribe to Mike's. It literally is in the title. You could literally watch the whole show and go and subscribe. There's no if, buts, or maybes. There's no excuses. Go and do it. Without a doubt, he knows what he's on about. Yeah, without a doubt. So yeah, we'll definitely get back on. But yeah, big up to everyone. Smash the thumbs up, hit the subscribe button. And until then, Mia Samia. Peace out, people. Peace out.